Hello and welcome to the Global Workplace Wellness Summit. My name is Joyce Sudidison, host of the summit and founder of Interpersonal Wellness Services, Inc. I'm so excited that you've joined us here for the summit today and to hear our guest speaker, Sarah Rose Devore. So our guest this morning is Sahara Rose Devore, and Sahara is a travel coach and expert and the founder of the Travel Coach Network. Showers, she empowers people to take control over their travels so they can have transformative experience that they would want to obtain the wellness benefits that travel provides. She applies a signature travel coach approach framework to help companies enhance their wellness and travel programs by optimizing and the power of travel so they can remain competitive, attractive, and keep valuable talent and increase productivity and profitability. Sahara, welcome this morning, and I'm so glad that you're here with us. How would you like to tell us a little bit about, what led you to becoming a travel coach and focus on wellness?
Yeah, so right outside of university over 10 years ago, I studied hospitality and tourism management. And I decided to really dive deep into the world of travel. I packed a bag and set off to explore the world. And within 10 years, I traveled to over 80 countries. And I really just fell in love with everything that travel had to offer. I knew what traveling was providing for myself, both in life, personally, but I was also realizing what traveling was doing for so many other people. So all the other travelers that I met, I was understanding why people were traveling, what travel was doing for them, how it was improving their health in some way. People were traveling for far deeper reasons than to just get away and to sit on a beach and to sip pina coladas. People really do travel for healing purposes, whether they're aware of it or not. So, for instance, a lot of times people travel because they experience a traumatic life event, or maybe there's a death in the family, or they just had a really bad breakup, or they're struggling in their marriage, so they're trying to find something that can bond them together. Maybe someone needs some soul searching, so they go on a solo trip to really figure out their own answers from within, or figure out their own path in life, direction in life. So there's a lot of deep reasons why people travel, and that was really interesting to me. I was realizing that people aren't seeing travel as actually a tool to improve overall mental and health, especially in the workplace. There's been a huge rise in corporate wellness programs, but still there remains this epidemic with burnout. And it really just sparked my interest of where is this imbalance lie, especially in the rise of the digital nomads and people looking for remote work, everything that I was exposed to throughout my travels. I was really learning about the shifts in today's workforce as well as in today's travel culture, ranging across all generations, what people were looking for. And I knew there must be a better balance and a better way to incorporate more travel into people's lives, both in and outside of the workplace.
Thanks, Sahara. That's very comprehensive. So you talk about having a travel coach approach framework, and you mentioned the various reasons, health and wellness reasons why you see people travel. And I think those are very, very good and great, great insight on why people travel, because people do travel for many of those reasons, and you're very correct there. And going away, as we know, people do, they travel, people go to Mecca, people go to different places because they're doing those soul searching. So as an organization, as a corporation that has people traveling, for instance, they have employees who are traveling throughout Europe or North America or different parts of the world. And they want to incorporate wellness. They want it to be, because what people usually align with wellness is fatigue, burnout, the jet lag, the shift, the change that comes from the time zones, the shift in time zones. So how can your wellness framework help an organization that's looking to deal with these on the ground issues for their employees?
Yeah, absolutely. So I created my travel coach approach framework based on an overall encompassing amount of what people look for in traveling and how it can benefit them. For instance, experiences. People are looking for experiences to enrich their life, especially travel experiences. That could be from a enhanced experience in a business trip. It can mean really optimizing on their paid vacation days. It means bringing storytelling and stories and memories back to share with their colleagues and their family and friends. That gives them this new sense of purpose and makes them more confident as a person. There's a lot of studies based on the years and years of proof of the mental health, physical, and physiological health benefits of travel on the mind, body, and the soul, which is always something that was really interesting to me, that I found that people were really not tapping into, especially corporations. So my travel coach approach framework really just encompasses things like transformation, experiences, authentic storytelling, and then the wellness benefits of traveling, and really giving people the empowerment and the education behind how to go about and to be able to travel better and more effectively, meaning just travel more intuitively, doing the inner work that is necessary, asking those internal questions of what is the underlying purpose for this trip, other than what it might seem to be of just wanting to get away. Why am I really trying to, what do I really look for out of this trip? What does my life look like when I return? What kind of outcomes and results on my mental health, physical health, my emotional state of being, my family life, my work life look like when I return from my trip? So therefore, when people do that inner work and they are able to tune into their internal self and also be identify and more aware of their fears, obstacles, where their stresses are coming from, and where their life is off balance, then they're able to better plan, book, and have a travel experience that really is going to improve their overall well-being, that they can now bring that back, that new, refreshed, rejuvenated state of mind and body back to the home life and, of course, the workplace. And there's just so many different benefits of being able to go and have these travel experiences that are very meaningful and very purposeful, and for employees to bring those experiences and those benefits back to the workplace.
So I understand that from a vacation perspective, as a corporation, the value of encouraging people to travel when they take their vacation or vacation time, or maybe even offering vacation as an incentive or reward part of the workplace. But I was thinking about the individual who, in my organization, who travels from US to Canada to Europe back, and probably have to do that in 10 days or so. What tips or ideas do you have for those individuals that their purpose for travel is to work? They're probably in a hotel, a training room, or in a boardroom. What are some strategies, wellness strategies that they can apply?
Yeah, so there's really, it's really just being able to take advantage of the destination. Road warriors, constant business travelers, they're always in, like you said, meetings on flights and airports into their hotel room, and they don't really get the chance to take advantage of the environment, the place that they're in. And a lot of people want that. They want to be able to go and explore something that is unique to that place, but they just don't feel like they either have the time or they don't have the confidence to go about and do so. Not everyone is a travel expert. So not everyone has the know-how of how to be able to figure out what to do in the time that I have. What can I go and see and do? How can I really engage with the culture and the locals? That's really going to give me this enriching memories and experience that is going to enhance my overall business trip instead of just staying with my typical schedule of what people always do from airport to hotel and meetings and work. It's really, a lot of people, as you hear the word term leisure, are looking for more ways to incorporate more experiences and leisure into their business travel. And but behind that is the companies are going to have to supply the support and the encouragement and the resources to better educate and empower their business travelers, their employees, to go and have these experiences and really optimize on the time that they have, whether it's a business trip or the paid vacation days that they aren't really using properly. They might just stay home, or they just go on a trip on a beach, stay connected to their work life, to the computer, answer emails, come back in the same stressed, overwhelmed state of mind as before they left. So there's a lot of steps that companies can do, and a lot of things that business travelers can look into, which is really taking advantage of what the unique attributes of every destination is that they go to and what they're looking to do out of it. And that's where I say, like, if the traveler does this inner work and they ask themselves, what kind of health concerns do I have? Maybe I have arthritis and I have achy joints and muscles. Maybe there's a nearby hot spring that I can go and relax in and get rejuvenated and refreshed. Maybe I am just so stressed out with work, I just want to go to a local massage parlor and enjoy, maybe like in Asia, there's just really a lot of local little massage parlors that are just really great experiences, and you sip your tea and you have your little biscuits afterwards. It's a whole new experience than if you just stayed at a spa in a hotel. So when they really just look inside and ask themselves, what are my obstacles I deal with? What am I struggling with personally, and how can I address those on my trip and find ways to incorporate more activities and experiences that is really going to help me improve in some way, whether it's mentally or physically.
So in this particular instance, you talk about some of those things. And I know when I was in Asia, one of the things that you always want to balance experience and safety. How do you, you're in a hotel, and you have meetings till like 6 o'clock, you go for dinner, and you have some papers to review before your next morning meeting. And what are some things I can do to stay well? I know for myself, it was about my meals, making sure I was hydrated, really keeping aware of, making sure my room is ventilated and so forth. Those were some key things. Watch, my sugar, salt intake, so that, because coming from North America into the hot Asian culture, so we don't have, water retention. So those are some of the things that I know I do, and I know many executives are struggling with, because you really don't have the time, and it probably doesn't come to your mind, or you tell yourself you don't have the time. So is there somewhere that people could assess to find out what is safe, what would be a safe adventure? Is there somewhere they could list their name, or they could, how do they get the experience, stay safe, and still incorporate those beautiful well-being experiences in their travel?
Yeah, so I think I understand what you're asking me, but it's really, I always go back to in the empowerment stage. I've traveled to over 80 countries on my own, lots of different types of countries I've been to, a lot of underdeveloped and third world countries. So it really just comes with a sense of confidence and empowerment to be able to navigate a destination that is foreign to you. A lot of times that could be very intimidating for people. So like you mentioned, the things that is personal for someone, making sure that they're eating well, staying hydrated, looking at a lot of these common constant traveler concerns like water retention and jet lag and whatnot. But it really is just being able to have this inner confidence to be able to go and explore a destination and find what really is interesting to them. They don't have to have a whole excursion. I know a lot of times business travelers are very time constrained, but it's as simple as walking outside of your hotel and going to a local market, going to try a brand new exotic fruit that you're not exposed to in your hometown. Those are some of my favorite parts of traveling, and the safety behind it is really just having this, to me, common sense of to be able to be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your belongings, but just be confident enough to go about and explore a place that is really, there's so much more benefits that you're going to obtain than if you don't let any of these mental blocks hold you back. Safety is always something, especially for women, as a concern, but it's a lot of figuring out what works for you. Obviously, I don't recommend going out at night if it's a place that you don't feel comfortable, but I'm talking about if you have some time during the day and it's a place where there's a lot to choose from to go and do, then go about and find something like a local market or a local massage place, or a park nearby that has a beautiful pond or something. Just something that's going to really place memories into your head of the place that you went to versus, oh, I went to this place, this city, but I don't remember anything because I was only there for work. I've heard that from so many different travelers who travel for business, and they really didn't get the sense of a place that they went to because they didn't have any experiences outside of the norm of where their schedule was supposed to be. And that is a very tricky thing to infiltrate because business travelers have such tight schedules usually. But today's culture and the workplace culture is really looking to cause a disruption here. I was just at the GBTA convention in Chicago this year, and disruption was the theme of it. And the industry and workers are really looking for ways to really incorporate a lot more experience and this buzzword of transformation into their workplace and into their business travelers' experiences.
You know, I really like the word disruption, and I think it's so important because I think we try to stay focused on what the norm is, and we're missing new opportunities. So I like that the idea of booking an extra day. You know, what would be the world wouldn't end if you took an extra day to actually enjoy your environment. And that could be the wellness implication in there, giving yourself time before your next meeting in your travel. Try to negotiate the future meeting, see if you can push it back or so that you can travel and have that downtime. Because I just spoke to someone in my network. She traveled for 3 days and she got home 10 o'clock that night and had to be on the plane 7 a.m. the next day. And I'm like, well, why did you come home? And really doing things like recognizing the altitude and all the different things. Can you just stay where you are and fly straight there? Then you have more time to relax in between. And I think it's those little things. Sometimes as corporate travelers, people forget, business travelers forget to do those things. But coming back to, burnout and overwhelm and some of the ways that a corporation can implement travel health or travel wellness into the approach, what are some tips you have of how they can quickly implement that?
Yeah, so it really is providing the guidance from a travel expert or the support of resources from an expert who's able to provide the education of how to take an extra day during your travels and what to do while you're there, how to use a booking system that really suits your budget and your time frame. And a lot of times companies provide booking management systems which can be overwhelming or not suit the desire of the traveler themselves. So really just providing even more resources for travelers, for employees to be able to gain that confidence, gain that knowledge, to be able to have more control into their trip or their vacation time or their business travel, to be more involved in their travel planning. There's even science behind even just taking part of your travel planning really boosts happiness hormones and those endorphins. So it really can spark your mood and that excitement to be more productive in the workplace and more motivated. So there's really a lot of science behind the health and mental health benefits of traveling that can really help combat or improve the signs of burnout and the consequences of burnout, and lowering your stress. And a lot of business travelers are so overwhelmed and stressed that they have another trip to go on. And if they can just change their mind frame, companies need to travel. Travel is an asset, a key importance to any success in any business. People have to travel. But if they change the way that they saw travel and used travel, especially for their road warriors, the people who are constantly traveling, who can be expedited on the signs of burnout because they're always on the road. If companies were able to just change the culture into how they saw and used travel in the workplace and provided this support and this resources for their employees to be able to be excited about travel, to really look forward to another trip or their vacation days, or providing more opportunities. Maybe there's a volunteer abroad opportunity they can go and do. like you said, add a couple extra, a day or two to a business trip, or allowing them to be able to fly a family member out, maybe a spouse, to spend a little bit of time on their business trip with them. A lot of companies offer medical benefits, but why not offer some benefits for travel for family members? A lot of people bring their home life and issues and stresses to the workplace with them, and that can be it, relationship strains with their partner or their children or friends or family. So why not include travel as a way to address overall well-being, and that's going to ultimately benefit the workplace.
Absolutely. I can see this as a huge retention factor too for organizations,
Yeah.
in terms of looking at the types of benefits they offer to the employees. One of my client organizations, they have a huge sales team, and the sales team is on the road all the time at trade shows and, on the road here and there. And it becomes grinding after a while. So in speaking to the leader, he was sort of grumbling about, this salesperson take extra time or spends more time. But I think it's the education around the benefits of that person making those trips feel like a vacation. It's so much healthier because their attitude and perspective at the trade show booth is going to be a lot different than if they were just there for another work. So I like that. You talk a little bit about travel property. Can you share a little bit more on that?
Yeah,
Travel
being
properly,
able
yeah. Mhm.
yeah, to being able to travel properly. That just really goes back to what I was mentioning about doing that inner work. It's one thing to book a trip and to go on it. You might have had this experience before too, and a lot of people do, where you are excited to go on a vacation, you hand it all over to a travel agent. Now you're stressed about how much you just paid for, and you are still doing your workload while you're traveling, and you now return back from your trip. It went super quick, and you're back in the same frame of mind before you left. Stressed with work, you're not happy. So what happened? You went on a vacation. You were really excited to go. Where's that disconnect with the experience? So that's where traveling properly and more intuitively comes into play. And that's doing that inner work that I was saying, really taking time to identify within what am I struggling with? Where are my stresses coming from? What are the sources of my stress? What are my sources of the state of mind that I'm in? Where is my mindset at right now? And how do I want to improve that? What do I want it to look like? So when I go on this trip, I go have this experience, what frame of mind do I want to come back in? That's going to make me more excited to be in the workplace, more happier in my home and my work life, and my daily life with my family. What is going to spark me to be more creative and productive and be happy to be in the workplace? And when someone is able to identify these fears, concerns, what am I afraid of? Maybe I'm just afraid of going on a trip alone to a place I can't communicate in. Maybe there's so many different roadblocks that a lot of people who are either traveling for business or traveling for leisure miss out on, and they're afraid of, so that it really holds them back from really having an overall experience. To be able to travel properly means we must engage with the local culture and the locals themselves, or go and experience something that is going to shake up your perspective on life. It's going to introduce new ideas to you. This all science shows sparks creativity in the brain, gets your brain working. It can improve your personal skills, your professional skills, makes you a better leader, a better navigator of the new destination, a better communicator, a better problem solver. There's a lot of benefits that travel can do for your health as well as for the workplace. But first, you have to do that inner work to be able to have this proper experience that you're looking for, so that you gain these benefits, these outcomes that are going to help you and are ideal to your work life and your workplace performance. And it's going to get you excited for the next trip, but also have purpose behind it. There's purpose in every trip, and people are always looking for something, but they don't always know how to go about and obtain that. I want to do soul searching. I need to find these answers from within. I'm not happy. Where's my passions? Where's my purpose in life? Well, what can I do on that trip? It's going to help you plan a trip better, book a trip better. You're going to know what time, who to go with, where to go. Do you want need to go somewhere where it's warm weather and sunshine? Do you need to go in the mountains to go hiking? Do you need to go with your family and build your relationships, your bonds? Do you need to go alone and spend some time by yourself? When you take that time and do that inner reflection, you're going to, it's going to help you obtain these answers better, to help you have an overall experience that's really going to transform you in so many different ways.
I like that whole piece about the transformation because it's so important, and I think it's something that we do. I remember in when I went to Indonesia, and I was actually quite surprised at their malls. They have hundreds of malls, and their malls are huge, huge, huge malls, and makes our malls here in Canada look really ridiculous. I'm like, whoo. But that was such a shock. It was so surprising and something you wouldn't. And then they have the Komodo dragon, and you're like, I read about that in books. I didn't even know that really existed, and so it's the experience. It's very different, and you're right. And bringing that, it changes your perspective in the world. When we went to Bali, we went underwater walking. We went sea walking. You have to put these big helmets on and go down
Yeah.
all these feet below and walk, and we send pictures back to our kids, and my daughter was like, who are these people? These are not my parents. What did you do with my parents? And I think
That's the same thing that my mom did and her friend did too when I sent them to Bali. So yes.
mhm,
It creates memories and stories to share, right? It makes you remember these experiences and gets you excited about it. And that's what's going to spark a healthy conversation in the workplace. It's going to give a better understanding of other cultures and build a sense of inclusion in the workplace with the diversity of workers, right?
very true, and very, very important for us to have those experiences. You're right. You do come back with a different perspective on the world, and especially if you live in a part of North America where I think sometimes we North Americans. I wasn't born in North America, but I've lived here most of my life, and I think sometimes we forget that there are other parts of the world. And sometimes you interact with people and they don't recognize that there are other continents out there that are very self-sufficient, and they may be considered third world countries, but they actually have a very decent lifestyle. And so it does give you a new perspective on life in different parts of the world. So yes, travel is fun. So any last key things, if you were thinking of 5 things an organization would do to implement travel health into their workplace, what are 5 things, 3 to 5 things you think they should start with?
Yeah, I would say bring on board a travel expert that's going to provide workshops or an online self-guided course or a training for employees, for booking managers, for HR to be able to understand the education and obtain the education and understand these health benefits of travel and the impact that benefit can positively do on the workplace. So providing the resources from an expert, but also provide more opportunities. Take a look at their travel policies and see, sculpt it into something that's attractive. Like you said, this is huge on retention. People are looking for jobs that are going to suit their desire to travel more, to have a more well-balanced work life. And with the rise of the internet, there's a lot of options out there for people. So for companies to want to stay competitive and to attract and retain valuable talent, they're going to have to take a look at their travel policies to really figure out how can we sculpt something that's more attractive to our employees and create a workplace, a company culture that's supportive of travel and how we see and use travel. So, and then taking a look at their management structure and providing education classes for their management team on the importance of travel, not only for themselves, but also for their employees. That's something that one of the many reasons why employees are actually not using their vacation days, all or most of them. 2018, it was 52% of Americans didn't use all of their paid vacation days. And it's not because they don't want to. It's more so some of the reasons are some from the management team. They don't feel supported or encouraged to want to go on their trip. They don't feel like they might be replaced. They feel like they might be fired or looked down on for their job commitment. And also providing more fun opportunities, maybe include volunteer abroad opportunities. A lot of employees are looking for also companies that support giving back to their communities or to the world. They want to be involved in that. So why not provide an opportunity once a year for a group of people to go abroad and to gain that travel experience, but also help and some people in another country. And really just figuring out what works for them as a company. Every company is different. So some companies like to offer life leave or sabbatical options or increased paid time off. There's a lot of research on different companies who toyed with all of these. Remote work options have really been beneficial for a lot of companies and have so providing that education and of why remote work options are beneficial versus headache for companies, because a lot of managers are afraid. There's a lack of control. What do I know what my employers are doing? How is this going to affect? But if they really took the time to research these companies who are actually incorporating remote work options, they can really see there's a lot of benefits to it. And it really has increased their overall company success. And just incorporating more of these options for people and taking a better look at their travel policy and also bringing on board a travel expert.
Thank you so much, Sahara. This has been very, very informative. I look forward to hearing feedback from some of our viewers on this interview. And I thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being a participant at the Global Workplace Wellness Summit. We love having you. You're a great guest, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much, Joyce. I had a great time.
You're very welcome. Bye now.